What's up, dudes? Eli here, back for a new stuff video. I have a couple things that I've been kind of slowly building up. Just waiting to make a video out of. Mixture of things, couple horror movies. I got some prog stuff, which is kind of cool. And I got some metal stuff. So, the best of all worlds, I guess you could say. I think we'll start with the prog stuff. I even have some vinyl to show. As I've been saying for the last, the last good while, I've been kind of listening to prog, kind of slowly getting into it over the last, 20 plus years. But lately I've been kind of trying to dive a little deeper, trying to go past that entry-level stuff. So this is kind of cool. This is a band I like a lot. I have their first album. They only have 2 albums, so I have their first album. I don't have their second album, but now I have their live album. We have UK, Night After Night, UK Live. For those that don't know, so UK were kind of I guess you could say like a super group in the mid to late 70s, known for, the only member that was on both albums was John Wetton, from King Crimson and Asia, and what else did he do? So the first album is my favorite because it's got not only John Wetton, but it's got Bill Bruford and Alan Holdsworth on guitar. It's fantastic. From what I have heard, or from what I know, I guess you should say, it's not a rumor or anything, but okay, so their second album, it's got to sound different. The second album, it doesn't have a guitar player. It's got Eddie Jobson on keyboards and electric violin. I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of why I haven't went for the second album. I would just miss Alan Holdsworth. Way too much. But anyway, so the live album is that second album lineup. With Eddie Jobson and Terry Bozzio on drums and percussion. Haven't listened to it yet, but just an old pressing from 1979. So this is live in Japan is where they're playing. Tokyo, to be specific. Tokyo, 1979. So stoked to listen to that, even though, like I said, I've been hesitant about checking out the second album. And another band that I have been hearing nothing but praise for over the years. This is their second album, I believe, from 72, something like that. Got Focus with Moving Waves. Focus from Netherlands. Very popular prog band. I always assumed, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I always assumed that the band Cynic, I always assumed they took their name of their first album from the name of this band, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I've never heard Focus. I just heard nothing but good things over the years. This is definitely a fan favorite. This is, from what I've gathered, most diehard fans of this band, this is either their first or second favorite album. So I figure that's a decent place to jump in. Yeah, stoked to listen to it. Another band I've been, diving into a lot more lately. I always liked them a little bit, but lately I'm liking them a lot more, actually pursuing more of their work. So I've been hunting this album down, sorta. I found a really, really cool version of it at my record store, and for a really, 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 really good price. Got Pink Floyd, Uma Guma. This is this cool version from 1994. It's originally from early 70s. I actually don't remember the year, and it doesn't say on this version. It just says the 94, the re-release date. But sorry, I don't have a lot of information on this. But yeah, it comes in this really cool slipcase. On the inside, it's got the album, studio album. Maybe I'll find a date on the inside of this. God, why doesn't it say? That is so dumb, but whatever. I've always heard this is one of their best albums. I'm not real partial to the Syd Barrett era of Pink Floyd, but couple months ago I bought their debut album, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and I finally listened to it the other day, and it was just not for me. It just sounded like a Beatles album. Yeah, I'm more into like, you know, The Wall, Animals, Dark Side of the Moon even. I still haven't listened to all their stuff, but those albums definitely. So yeah, but anyways, hoping this will be maybe the album that kind of bridges the gap between those two eras. I don't know. And it also comes with a live album where they play. They play the entire album. No, they don't play the entire album, but comes with a live album. It's called Uma Guma live album. Very cool cover, by the way. I always called it Uma Guma. Is it pronounced Amagama? I feel like it rolls off the tongue better the way I say it, but I also like to say things correctly if I can. So not only those two discs, but it comes with a really cool poster. And you can tell whoever's owned this for the last 25 years has never used it, which kind of makes me not want to use it because it's pristine. It's just the album cover, but it's very nice. Like this poster looks like you could have bought it this year. It's flawless, which, like I said, kind of makes me. Typically, when my records and stuff come with posters, I like to use them. You know, I like to hang them up. That's what they're for. They're not meant to just sit in a jacket forever and be looked at once every 5 years. I don't believe in that. But I don't know, man. On this one, I'm gonna think about it. But yeah. Anyways, this is one of the coolest things I found recently. I'm definitely taken aback. So that's it for the Prog stuff. Let's move on to some heavy metal. It's the reason why most of you guys come here. Not for Prog, probably, but so I love Sabotage out of Florida. I'm sure you guys all know who that is. I've been listening to my Sabotage records. I mostly just have the early stuff, but I do have Edge of Thorns, which is like early 90s, and I was actually listening to that album a lot over the last couple weeks, and like I kind of really decided that I liked that album a lot. Before I was just kind of on the fence with it, and I didn't pursue much of their catalog beyond that. I do have Dead Winter Dead. I still haven't spent a lot of time with that, but anyways, I was like, I wonder what, you know, I know they had a record that came out right after Edge of Thorns. You know, I wonder how that sounds. So I went ahead and ordered it. It's called Handful of Rain. Came out in '94, so I can't. When did Edge of Thorns came? Yeah, a couple years after Edge of Thorns. So this lineup, I was looking at the back of the CD and I was like, man, that guy kind of looks familiar. This dude right there. And I pulled out the booklet and it's fucking Alex Skolnick. You know, you can see him better. Fucking Alex Skolnick from Testament. I did not know he was ever in Sabotage, so I figured, I mean, I really do like his guitar work, so I figured, you know, with Zach Stevens' vocals and Alex Skolnick on lead guitar, I figured this, I don't know, maybe a pretty cool album, but we'll see. I don't know where you guys leave off with Sabotage. Most people only, you know, most people don't go much past, what I call the Mountain King or whatever, but I like to, when I like a band, I like to kind of listen to their whole catalog at least once to see if I like it. You know, I don't like to leave any stone unturned. So this next album, this came out this year, 2021. I'd never heard of this album at all, or this band at all. This is a band out of Italy called Malamorte. Apparently they used to be a black metal band, and now they play just more traditional heavy metal. This is called God Needs Evil. Came out this year, like I said, via Moribund Records. I like to support Moribund Records. It's a label that I've supported for a long time. They are semi-local to me. I live about 15 minutes from the Washington border, so only like 5 hours from Seattle. Moribund Records is in the Seattle area, so I've always considered them a kind of like a semi-local label. Odin, the owner of the label, has always been super, super cool to me. So saw this in a record store, had never heard the band or heard of the band, but I grabbed it, obviously. Last but certainly not least, really glad to have this classic in my collection because I've never owned this. I've been playing it a lot lately. I kind of forgot how fucking good it truly is. King Diamond Conspiracy. This came out in 1989, right after the Them record, and I think it's a continuation conceptually. I think this is easily as good as Them, maybe even better. It's just so fucking good. So Metal Blade has been putting out these King Diamond reissues. They're kind of cheesy, but whatever. It's kind of cool, kind of cheesy. They're like mini LPs. It looks like a standard digipack, but it's actually like made out of the same material as as vinyl LPs, which is kind of cool. And then the CD made to look like an LP. Like I said, kind of cheesy, but whatever. Kind of looks like a 7-inch, but smaller. I just wanted the album. That's all that matters. I'm kind of working on completing my King Diamond collection because I've always been missing like 3 or 4 albums. So, really, really glad to have this. Been playing it a lot. And next we'll move on to some death metal. This is a somewhat recent release. I think it came out last year, actually, 2020. This is a young death metal band out of New York. I've been listening to this here on YouTube, actually, and after a couple plays, it really sat well with me. I decided I really liked this album, and I wanted to pick up a copy. Glorious Depravity, Ageless Violence. Came out on Translation Loss Records. Label I've never had anything from. And it's just good, old school sounding, catchy, chunky death metal. Like I said, after like the second listen, it really just started to, I don't know, it just really started to get stuck in my head, and I had to get a copy. Kind of a random buy here. I got this from the same seller that I got that Savatage CD from. I've always wanted to kind of dive into this band's discography, but I've never owned anything from, so it's kind of cool to start somewhere at least. This is a very cult death metal band out of Mexico, Trans Metal. They've been around a long time, early 90s, if not earlier than that. They have a lot of albums. They've actually stayed very consistent. They seem to... they do have a fan base outside of Mexico, but it seems like... I don't know, I feel like... at least here in the U.S., I feel like a lot of people don't really know about them, which is kind of a shame. They are very good. If you've never heard Trans Metal, don't let them pass you by. Go order something. They have a lot of albums. They've actually stayed very consistent. This one's from 2004, and it's like in the middle of their discography. So I have not heard this album. I've only heard some of their early work, so I don't really know. I don't really know what to compare this to. I don't know if it sounds like the early shit, if they sound different later on. I'm not sure. But I'm stoked to dive into this and hopefully get some more stuff from them in the future. Moving on to some black metal. This album is something that I heard like maybe around 10 years ago, and I'll be honest, I completely forgot. But I'm really glad that I got a kind of a reminder that I really liked this album, and I decided to hunt down. I never did have a copy of it. So basically, back in like 2010, like 2010 to 2013, I used to contribute to this black metal blog. Back when people did blogging, and it was such an honor because it was the black metal blog. I'd mentioned the name, but there aren't going to be very many people that would actually know about it. it was a private blog, so the only way people could even view it was by invite. We'd have to send you an invite, and we only sent like maybe at most, I think maybe 100 invites. So we just had a very cool, community of people sharing, black, and it was strictly black metal. So we only had, we had a really cool small community of people sharing black metal albums. And the curator of the blog, the guy that started it, was just the encyclopedia of black metal. To this day, I've never seen anyone with such good taste in black metal. Like, he had all the classics. Not only that, but he was buying every new like underground black metal release, whether it be on tape, vinyl, CD. This dude just had it all. It was really, really impressive. I wish I was still in contact with him, but so anyways, he really kind of, at that time, 2010, I was a fan of black metal, but I was like, I was only really listening to the classics, the 90s stuff, and I loved it, but I hadn't really, dove deep. But this dude just grabbed me and just kind of like, he kind of dragged me into the underground and, showed me all this stuff that I just didn't even know existed. So this is just one of many. This is a Nightside out of Finland with the End of Christianity. I had to get this from a cellar in Greece. Came out on Black Tower Productions. Yeah, I got a reminder of this album, and I was like, I gotta get a copy. So this is being, if you want a copy, like on vinyl, this is being released. It might already be for sale. But Northern Heritage is releasing this on vinyl, like either right now or in the near future. So if you want to check it out, if you like what you hear, go check out Northern Heritage. So this came out, I want to say first of all, this is like, I think this album was a compilation of some demos, basically. I think the label calls it a full length, but this band kind of existed in like the mid 90s to early 2000s, and I want to say, yeah, this is basically a demo comp. The band doesn't exist anymore, and the cool thing about the sound here, I would call this almost like, I hear some touches of early Emperor, like very early Emperor, demo era, and maybe even the first full length. Mixed with maybe a little of the classic Swedish black metal, like maybe Marduk and Dark Funeral, respectively. So for a band from Finland, this doesn't really have like that Finnish sound that you would expect. It doesn't sound like, Horna or Sargeist or anything like that. The bands out of Finland currently that are just amazing. It also doesn't sound like the very early bands out of Finland. It doesn't sound like a Beherit or Barathrum or anything like that. So, them being from Finland, they sound unique considering. So, definitely check out Nightside. This is the only, full length they had, if you want to consider it that. But other than this release, they just had some demos and stuff. So. But a very cool band and definitely worth checking out, I would say. Like I said, I ordered this out of Greece because I wanted it so badly. So that's it for the CDs. I do have a couple horror movies. Got this movie for like $3, and I just watched it last night, and I guess as I expected, it wasn't real great. It was kind of, I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of like Disney made a horror movie. It is rated R. I'm not really sure why. It's not really very extreme or anything, but I picked up The Nun. I did like the first two Conjuring movies okay, and this kind of exists in the Conjuring universe. The ending was kind of cool. There were some cool surprises at the end, but other than that, the whole movie just was kind of weak, I thought. It's worth watching, sure, but I mean, now that I own it, I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. I'm just glad to pick this up because I forgot about this movie. I remember hearing it was actually pretty cool. Came out, I think, in like 2019. supposed to be like a survival horror movie, I guess you could say. You got Crawl, horror movie with, basically there's a massive flood and there's fucking crocodiles everywhere. Which, I mean, the crocodiles are goddamn terrifying. I would say a crocodile is way, way scarier than, some knife-wielding human. At least the human you can fight. Good luck fighting a fucking crocodile or alligator or whatever. So what interested me in this movie is Sam Raimi produces it. Obviously, we know who Sam is. But the director, Alexandre Aja, French dude, he's done some really, really good, like really brutal movies. Like he did that movie High Tension that for some reason got so popular like 15, 16 years ago. But I thought it was pretty good. Brutal movie. Very brutal. And then he did that Hills Have Eyes remake kind of around that same time, which, dude, that remake was insanely brutal. I personally liked it more than the original. And then he did like the Piranha 3D remake too. So I don't know. I see him as, like a dude that definitely has potential. Clearly he's into brutal horror. So I don't know what he, I haven't followed his work recently. I'm looking at the back here. I just noticed Barry Pepper is in this. Remember Barry Pepper? I always liked him. I think he's a pretty good actor. I feel like I haven't seen him around lately. So yeah, Barry Pepper, that's cool. So anyways, anyone seen Crawl? I'm pretty stoked to watch this. And last but not least, this movie I had been kind of wanting to see for the last 6 months or whatever. Came out last year. It was this was recorded during quarantine in the UK. So this is all, you probably already know where I'm going with this. This is all recorded over Zoom. We got Host. It's a Shudder original. Pretty decent movie. I had actually heard really good things. I reversed the cover and I gave it that. The original cover just looked like that, but I flipped it around because I thought that was a little cooler. So the premise is basically, 6 or 7 friends conduct a seance online, just pretty much out of boredom. Because unlike in the US, the UK had an actual quarantine where people stayed home and their government, kind of took care of them and made it so they could stay home and not get sick. But anyways, I'm not going to go there, even though I just kind of did. So yeah, friends doing a seance thing, and, as you could probably guess, things go awry. I know it sounds very hypey, and there was a lot of hype behind this one, but I still wanted to see it. It was cheap. It was $10. I actually thought it was pretty decent. Definitely worth the $10. It's a little predictable, sure, but it was still a decent ride. It's only 57 minutes, so it's pretty fucking short. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm sure a lot of you have seen it by now. Alright, that's all I got for now. Louie and I are going to go head out on our walk. He's behind me, just full of contempt, waiting for me to take him out. So, have a good weekend, what's left of it, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.